Welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be making a mixed veg dal, or dal, yeah, I think that's what you'd call it. Let me just move that out of the way. So let me just move a few things out of the way. Okay, that's my trusted chopping board. For that I shall be using 3 varieties of dal. So here we go. We have, this is the red, we call masoor dal, but it's red dal. You can find it in almost any grocers nowadays. This is split mung bean dal, so the green mung beans without the shells, and it's been split, so that's that one. And this one is chana dal, chickpea dal. Okay, now quantity wise, I'd say this is the most, this is the medium, and this is the least. So I would reckon if you're looking at 2/3 or I suppose 3, 2/3 and 1/3. Okay, whatever measurements you want to use. So that's your whole one, that's 2/3 of that one, and that would be 1/3 of it. Okay, what I generally tend to do with these dals is when you take it out of the packet, just pick through it, put it on a flat dish, a flat plate, and then just pick through, make sure there's no stones in there or grit in there. Some of these dark bits are not grit, they're actually the outer shell of or the husk of the dal itself. But it's important to pick out the stones, because I know that they're supposed to be, certainly in Europe, they are supposed to be pre-sorted and so on, but you do find the odd piece of grit, and invariably ends up in the plate. And the last thing you want is to come across it when you're biting through. You always get it in restaurants. Everywhere I've been, I get it in a restaurant. Maybe I'm just one of those guys that kind of gets these things in their food. Right, so I'm going to be using a pressure cooker to do the initial bit of cooking. Here's my trusted pressure cooker. It's not a very big one. It's about 1 litre and a bit, I think, maybe. So just throw the dals in there. Oh la la. Ooh la la. There we go. Give it a quick stir up. Now, I'll give you a good tip with the pressure cooker in a minute. Let me just rinse this out, because as I say, I don't like, the same as when I was making rice, I don't like getting dust and stuff in there. This will have collected dust whilst it has been stored at the facility or the warehouse where it was packaged. So just give it a quick rinse, and then I'll show you how much water I add and so on. Okay, just bear with me while I just give it a rinse. Whilst I'm rinsing this, let me know where you're viewing the video from. If you like it, subscribe, comment, share. If you don't like it, or if you like it, just let me know. Okay, now I'm going to be pressure cooking this, so I've added that much water, and I say that much water, how much is that? That's about, I suppose less than 1 centimetre above the base of the dal. I'm also going to be adding to this the spoon. Why am I adding this spoon? The spoon tastes lovely. No, it doesn't. Don't try eating it. First, a little bit of salt, not too much, just a little bit, because we'll be adding more when we're doing the cooking anyway. So that's about half a teaspoonful of salt. I found that when I put this in like that and leave it in there like so, and then I add the lid, get it out of this thing goes. Where are we? There we go. Click it on. Stick the whistle on it. Nice and firm. Right, so when I add it to this, and I'm going to put this on heat now, sometimes, or nearly every time when you're doing dals and things like this in a pressure cooker, you'll find a lot of water and all sorts of yucky liquid and the starchy stuff coming out of here and making a mess everywhere. This, adding the steel spoon like that, it kind of reduces it. It could be a steel knife, fork, spoon, whatever you've got to hand, just small enough to put it in there. For some reason it reduces it. I haven't quite figured out why, and I haven't found an explanation as to why, but it does. If you know, let me know in comment. Okay, I'm just going to put this on heat. Oops, sorry about that. I'm going to put this on heat for about, in terms of number of whistles, I think about 12, because you want the dal to be nice and soft and smooth. You don't almost like a, well, it's got to be really nicely cooked. Okay, so it's gone on to the cooker. Ooh, let's just lift this. There we go. It's gone on to the cooker. It's on heat, and we just let it whistle away. So it'll make a whistling sound on here. I might show you that, I might not. Depends. If I think that you're bored, I might show you it. If I think that you're busy and can't be bothered to listen to a pressure cooker whistling, then I might not. Oh, decisions. So meanwhile, whilst the dal is heating up, I've got some 2 chilies, green chilies, chopped up nicely there. A couple of red chilies which are dried. I'll throw those into the tarka dal, or tarka, or when I do the spices. This is garlic, chopped roughly. I use 3 small cloves. I could have used more, could have used less, but I used 3. 1 carrot, nicely diced up. I'm also going to be adding a couple of small potatoes. They'll be diced similar size to the carrots. In fact, we could do that now whilst we're waiting. Just quickly chop them up. I like using this cleaver. It's nice. It makes it easier, especially when you're doing things like potatoes and carrots. It's so much easier. That's one. The only thing is the starch makes it stick to the side, so you've always got to be careful with that. But as with any cutting implement, oops, there you go. So as with any cutting implement, have the cleaver or the knife held that way, not that way. Okay? There's just a vertically down, fingers in, down that way and that way. Right? Protect yourself. Less strips to A&E, the better. Especially with the current state of the NHS. Done. So, that didn't take long. They're going to go in at the same time as the carrots, so I might as well put them in with the carrots. There we go. Carrots and potatoes mixed. Done. Now, onions. I'll probably be using half of this onion because the quantity of the dal and the rest of the veg and so on. So let me just show you how I cut an onion up. Put half to one side. So I've chopped it in half, straight along the root, straight down. Not that way, but straight down that way, and I'll tell you why. And then I'll put it this way. If you look at the onion, you'll see these lines going across, okay? On any onion, the lines go across like that. can use that to our advantage when you're cooking. So same again, away from yourself. I mean, you see chefs using all sorts of different methods of chopping onions and stuff, but I use this method. My knife is not sharp enough to do all that business, 3 that way and then that way. You know, that might be faster for them, but I don't have sharp enough knives. Now, so I've chopped the onion into discs or half semicircles like that, and if you look at these, the lines are still there, and if you look down, if you look close enough, you can see the segments of the lines as they come through. So you could actually get equal segments done that way if you wanted to. I just do this. And they all come out roughly equal, all the cut pieces, which means that they'll cook equally and they'll cook at the same time. Right, so chop that up. It's a dal, so I don't need them to be any particular size. I don't want them too big, I don't want them too small. So that's my onions done. Oh, I've got a bit left here, might as well use that. Waste not, want not. I don't want to use the root part because that's a bitter part of the onion. That's where it well, that's where it came out of the ground from. So put that to one side. There's the other half of the onion. I'll use that for a salad or something else. Not sure what now. There's no need to break up the onion pieces, segments like that. They'll break up during the cooking anyway. But you see, they'll all break up to equal size roughly. So it's good. Okay, so that's been prepared. I'll show you what other vegetables that I'm going to be putting into the dal. And then you can go and have a cup of tea whilst I do the same. So I had some leftover frozen spinach. This is it's frozen. Some sweet corn and some peas. They were from a pie that I made the other day, yesterday in fact, not the other day. And this is the mixture that was left over because I only made one large pie. There's only 2 of us, so I didn't need to make loads and loads of it. And there's really no flavouring in here. It's just a bit of seasoning, salt, pepper, a little bit of chili powder and a little bit of coriander powder, nothing else. Okay, so you get the nice spinach taste and so on. All of this, along with the carrots and the potatoes and the onions, will go into the dal. Okay, and it'll be a nice tasty dal. I also need a tomato too, so I need to get some. I'll chop up a tomato as well. I'm not going to show you how to chop up a tomato. I'm sure you can chop a tomato. We're going to be making the tomato into that sort of size, so I'll get a nice one about that sort of size, reasonable tomato. Chop that up and we'll put that in as well, and then after that it's just flavourings and spicing up and making the tarka for the dal, the oil mixture and so on. Okay, I'll catch you guys later. So here are my chopped tomatoes, all that sort of size or there or thereabouts anyway. But I just wanted to show you the thing about the pressure cooker and the spoon. So just move that up a bit. It's about to blow its whistle. As you can see, there's nothing coming out the top there. So that's the main thing. There's nothing out there, right? So that little spoon trick does seem to work. Try it. So the pressure cooker, there we go. That's about the last whistle I think for me for today. So how do I depressurize it? Very simple. I get cold water running on the tap. Whoops. Get the cold water running. and then I put the whole thing with the whistle. Don't take the whistle off. Leave the whistle on there. That's the whistle. Leave it on there. Don't do anything with it. Just put it under the tap like that. Okay? And you see it all go nice and cool. Cold water. And the pressure relief valve, that one there, has gone down. Okay? Cold water, not hot water, cold water. Now you can take the whistle off quite happily, safely. Remember, safety first, okay? Right, put that to one side and I'll catch you in a bit. Okay, so we're at the stage of where we want to be adding the spices and the dals and all that sort of stuff to the dal. Not all the dals. Okay. Here we go. So we have a couple of cloves, cumin seeds, fenugreek seeds, and these are ajwain seeds, or carom I think they're called in English. To that I'm also going to be adding one short stick of cinnamon. Notice it's curved at the moment. I'll put it in that way so you'll see what happens. And also about, I suppose, this is about a quarter teaspoon or half a teaspoon of mustard seeds. So throw that in. Okay, I'm putting that on heat now, a little bit of heat. So it'll go up to, just to heat up the spices first. Then I'll add some oil. The oil that I'm going to be using is mustard oil. Let me show you that. Get that? Oh, there we go. This is mustard oil. Very healthy oil. It's a nice healthy oil to use with the dal. So what I shall be doing is I shall be adding as soon as the seeds start to move around and pop a little bit, they'll actually start swelling up. You'll notice that the balls of the cloves swell up, and you'll also notice that the cinnamon will flatten out a little bit as the oils start pushing out of it. Let me just give that all a bit of a quick stir just to move them up so they all get a bit of heat. Unfortunately, as I keep mentioning, I'm on electric. I should be going to gas at some stage, but there's no gas in the village. So that's why some people use bottle gas, and we will in fact be using bottle gas at some stage when we expand our kitchen, or when we knock the wall out and do all of that stuff. Okay, so just leave that for a few minutes on gentle heat whilst the warms the spices up and releases the oil. Then that releases the oils in the spices. Then I shall be adding the mustard oil, along with some asafoetida, which is this stuff, hing, some sweet curry leaves in there in the oil. Let all of that sizzle a little bit. Then I shall add the onions, the chopped onions, which we chopped earlier. Let them cook down a bit with the chilies. I'll throw in the red chilies, the dry chilies as well, into the mixture, probably before I add the onions, and then we'll just spice it up as we go along. See what it turns out like. Okay, we'll add the dal and the other vegetables that I showed you earlier, and then let it cook. Season it up again, bit of salt, bit of pepper, maybe some tomatoes. Well, yes, the diced tomatoes will go in. Maybe a bit of 57 varieties. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so as you can see now that the cinnamon has started to unravel itself, it's getting a bit flatter, and I can see that one or two seeds are starting to move around in there a little bit. So I'll catch you in a bit. Welcome back. So The seeds are just starting to, one or two are rolling around, as you can see. One or two just rolled over from over there. And you can hear a little bit of sizzling. So now's the right time to add the mustard oil. The smells coming off this are wonderful. Right, so just throw a bit of oil in there. Put a little bit more. That's about 2 or 3 tablespoonfuls, not too much. That should be enough. Let me just check. Yeah, that should be plenty. Plenty of oil in there. Okay. Hear the sizzle coming through. So let me throw in the chilies. A couple other dried red chilies. Just struggling to open this bottle with some dried limri or sweet curry leaves. About 2 or 3 of those will do. Throw them in there as well. Lovely. Right, so we're making progress. Let me get some onions ready. Let them pop around a little bit. And then I shall add the onions, which I've got in my hand, ready to go in. They can't wait to go in there. Let me in, let me in. No, wait your turn. Okay. Right. The oil is just starting to smoke a little bit, so I'll add the onions now. That's done. Wonderful. Now we let them take on a little bit of colour, not too much. Okay. Nice sizzling sound of cooking taking place. So that's that. You may have noticed that there's no ginger being added. That's because I haven't got any fresh ginger. Excuse me. I'm going to throw in the chopped chilies there now. Throw them in. Right. Let that all cook for a little while. Couple of minutes, 3 or 4 minutes. I'll come back to you. So the onions have been cooking for a few minutes now and they're getting translucent and nice. So I'm just going to create a little space in the middle for a bit of tomato puree. Just throw some of that in there so that cooks nicely. If you do this, then it takes the bitterness out of the puree. Or so I've found. That's it. In there. Good. Now go in there for a bit. Throw the tomatoes in now. You need to learn, nice sizzle. You need to learn the art of chucking in, throwing in, bunging in. These are skills that will hold you in good stead for your life. Throw this in, bung that in, chuck it in. All good stuff. Okay, some pepper going in, ground pepper. When that's cooking, some asafoetida going in. Get the lid off. There we go. How much asafoetida? About, just less than half a teaspoon. teaspoon, not tablespoon. Remember, guys? Put that in there. Give it a quick stir. Let it cook in. Oops, just knocked the camera. And now we're going to throw in a few spices as well. Ground spices. So we have dry cumin. I think it's cumin and coriander, this one. A couple of spoonfuls of that. This is like a teaspoon, just under a teaspoon really. And we have some turmeric, about a spoonful of that. A little bit of red chili powder, because I don't know how spicy my green chilies are. I don't think they're very spicy. You don't really get very spicy anything here in Scotland. So we have to make do. That's not a problem. Right, give that a stir. Add a little bit of water so that the spices don't burn. Let me get some water. Excuse me. Right. Good. Now, let them cook away. Lovely. Now, let that cook away a bit. Then we'll start adding the vegetables in there. And the dal, of course. What we'll do is we'll first add the hard vegetables so that the potatoes and the carrots cook a little bit, and then we'll start adding the softer veg, the spinach and the other bits and pieces along with the dal. We'll see. We may change the order around a bit. We'll see how it goes. See how which way the wind blows. Hopefully I don't get too much wind blowing in the kitchen. But there we go. If you're cooking it outside on a stove, these rocket fuel stoves or something like that, then you have to be careful. Watch which way the wind blows. One of the things that you'll see when you're cooking things like this are that if you've added the oil in, if it's cooking and it's cooked properly, that the oil will start to separate out, so that the oil will start, you'll start seeing the oil coming out the edges here. But you probably won't be able to see much at the moment because there's so much steam clogging up the camera lens. I say camera, says he. It's just the little camera on the phone. But anyway, so I'm just letting that cook for a few minutes. I'll throw in the potatoes and the carrots and add a little bit more water to it as well, so they don't burn. It's always good to cook your tomatoes and your spices and everything in properly before you start adding your main ingredients. Especially when you're making dals and certain types of curries. Not all, but certain types of curries. Okay, there we go. Well, I think it's time to throw in the... Oh, no, I won't throw these in. I'm going to bung them in. So I'm going to bung in the potatoes and the carrots. There we go. They're bunged in now. Almost perfectly. Alright, so they're bunged in. Now we'll throw in some water. Oh no, we'll chuck in water because we haven't done the chucking yet. Right, so I'm just about to chuck in some water. Not too much, that will do. So I've chucked in some water for the carrots and the potatoes. It was warm water, it wasn't boiling water and it wasn't cold water, so that'll come up to boil in a minute or two. At this stage I'm going to throw in the garlic that I cut up earlier. Chuck that in. Okay, that needs to cook away for a little bit, and then I'll add in the dal and the other vegetables that I have. I'll also at this stage add some Himalayan salt. I like to use both Himalayan black salt as well as the normal table salt. The Himalayan black salt is not very salty actually, so I add in about just half a tablespoonful, I suppose. Throw that in. It's very healthy for you, okay? Very, very healthy. Way more healthy than this processed standard table salt stuff that we have. Cooking salt or whatever they call it. However it's marketed. That's all it is. Marketing. Salt is salt. I say that, but there's so many different varieties of salt, so that's actually not quite correct. Salt is not salt. I take that back. Right, what else have we got to go in? I think we're done in terms of spices. I'll throw some dal in a couple of minutes. I'll give that about 2 or 3 minutes to cook. I'll throw the dal in, and then I suppose about 5-10 minutes before the end I'll put the rest of the vegetables in, and then right at the end I'll put in some herbs. I have to hunt around and see what we've got lying around, and then put that in. These videos are made with ingredients that we've got lying around. I'll have some videos where I've planned to cook something and I've actually gone out into the shops and bought something for that particular recipe and cooked it. But where we live, in this particular village, there is nothing commercial, so it means that we have to drive 7-8 miles to the nearest shops to try and get some bits and pieces. This is cooking in nicely, so starting to bubble away nicely. So let me throw in the dal. I've thrown some dal in there. Let that cook away nicely, and then I'll catch you in a bit. So the mixture's been cooking away nicely now, or the dal's been cooking away nicely. So I'm just going to add the rest of the vegetables in there, which is the spinach, peas and sweet corn. Let's put those in. Probably slow the cooking down because these have been in the fridge overnight. They were actually frozen spinach and frozen peas, I think, which I was using for a pie filling which I made yesterday. Quite an interesting one. I should have done a video of that one actually. Anyway, I didn't. You'll have to wait till the next time I'll make it. Right, so those are the main ingredients for this particular vegetable dal. Quite a healthy recipe, quite a healthy dish actually. Recipe, well, that's for you to judge. It's a vegetarian and it's a vegan dish because there's no dairy products in here. So we've got spinach in there, carrots in there, we've got a couple of small potatoes in there, sweet corn in there, peas in there, onions, garlic. There would be some ginger normally. If you had any ginger, you'd throw a bit of that in there, nicely diced and chopped, and then the rest are just spicing and flavouring. What I'll probably do is I'll try and find some ginger powder which I've got lying around somewhere, and I'll throw that in as well. Probably about, I think about a teaspoon is probably enough. Get that going. I'll give it a taste in a minute or two once that's started cooking a bit, and then add in a little bit of salt, maybe, or maybe not, depending on how it goes. And I've still got to add the garam masala. I might as well do that now actually. So how much garam masala? This is about, I suppose a heaped spoon of this is about half a teaspoon. So I generally add 1 and a bit. Right, so that's about a teaspoon of garam masala. That's not that much, but it's enough. You don't want to overpower any dish that you make with the spices. The spices are there to give you a nice flavouring and so on. It's of course they will make the dish spicy. That's the whole idea of making a curry. But they're not there so that they're so spicy that you can't taste the main ingredients, like the spinach or the potatoes or dal or whatever it is. They are there to enhance and bring out, as well as give you health benefits. And there are loads of health benefits from using spices. I'm not going to go into that today. I'll go into that in a separate video at some stage when I'm bored and when you guys are bored. Okay, I'll catch you in a bit, nearer the end, when I'm about to throw in a few herbs, and I've got to find that ginger powder as well. Welcome back. Right, so I've got a few, in terms of herbs, I've got a few mint leaves. This odd looking thing are actually chopped coriander. They're a bit manky and old looking, but they're perfectly okay. They're actually been drying out in the fridge, so they're okay. And I've also got some thyme. I love thyme. Fresh thyme in dals is fantastic. So this is not fresh. It was fresh when it went in the fridge, but it's dry. Fridges tend to dry out herbs. It's a great tip, this. If you want to make dried herbs, rather than going and buying these bottles of dried herbs, get yourself some fresh herbs. Take out the bits that you want to dry, put them in a brown paper bag and leave them in the fridge for 5 to 10 days, and they'll come out wonderfully dried. And then you can store them for as long as you like. Put them in a glass bottle, store them, saves you buying them. Okay, so let me just chop this up a bit. That's the mint. Roll up the leaves like that, and that is fresh. That's probably the freshest herb I've got at the moment, because it's growing on my windowsill. Oh, I think there's somebody at the door. Somebody can get that. Right, I'll catch you in a bit. So I'm just going to throw in the dried thyme. I got plenty of time on my hands. Make a video for YouTube. Got nothing else to do. Right. I've got some more. There we go. So this has been in the fridge. It was fresh. It was fresh thyme. And then after a week or so it becomes like this. So you just rub off the edges like that, and it's lovely and dry. Really nice. And you get a better flavour after this than you do from the shop bought dried stuff. Ah, lovely. Look at that. Just rolls off the branches just like that. Perfect. Look at that. Perfectly done. Good. All the main bits off. Right, let's throw in the mint. Right, the mint is thrown in. Scrape off the bit that was on the side. There we go. The mint is thrown in. Give that a quick stir. I'll give this a taste in a minute or two. Let the herbs get absorbed a little bit. You've noticed that I haven't put in the coriander. Well, you might not have noticed. I don't know. You might have been sleeping. Okay, so I haven't put in the coriander. Normally what I do with coriander is I switch the heat off and then I throw the coriander in at the end, and it gives a better taste. That's what I find. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little bit of ketchup. It's not 57 varieties, it's a different variety, but it's a ketchup. So just a couple of squirts of that. Oh, that's another technical term you need to learn. Squirt. Right, so a couple of squirts of that. That'll do. Give that a mix. So you've learnt a lot today. You've learned bunging, chucking, throwing, and squirting. Not necessarily in that order. Yes, I can see your mind's racing there. Okay, here we go. Give that a bit of a taste. See how far we've got to go. Consistency in terms of structure and thickness and so on is there or thereabouts. I need to just burn off a little bit more water than that and make it slightly thicker, but actually it's quite nice at the moment, I believe, in terms of structure. Right, let me have a quick taste. Oops. Oh, that is nice. It is very nice. Right, I think. That really is nice. Spinach comes through. All the herbs are coming through nicely. Nice bit of heat there from the spices and the chilies and so on. That will go perfectly with a flatbread like a naan or something like that, paratha or chapati or any description of flatbread really. And rice, of course. Yes, you can eat that with rice anytime, and it's very healthy. Or you can just eat it by itself in a bowl with a spoon, which is probably what I'll end up doing at some stage with it. Okay, so I think I'll take that off heat. Switch the heat off. Throw the coriander in. That wasn't quite a throw, that was more like a slide. That's another technical term, I suppose. Slide the stuff in, like that. Or scrape, more than a slide, but nah, I prefer bunging and throwing and chucking. Right, here we go. They're all in there now. All the spices are in there, all the herbs are in there. It's all done nicely. Put the lid on that and just leave it. Right. Joking aside, that's a lovely, healthy, vegan, vegetarian recipe to make. Okay? Try it. Do try it. It just restores the taste buds. It's neither a winter dish, spring dish, summer dish. It's just an anytime dish to eat. When you're feeling a bit, I don't know what to eat today, make a dal. And if you're fed up with making a standard dal, throw these vegetables in. They're healthy, very good for you. Dals are full of protein, so nice alternative. Okay, enjoy yourselves. Stay happy. Thank you for watching, and subscribe if you like. Share, comment. Thank you very much.